Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeping America Beautiful with Bill Jordan. Another episode. Today we have a fantastic person all the way from Newark, New Jersey. We have Louis Gouveia, and he's a marketing guru. And so, Louis, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And so tell us, we had this notion about marketing. What really is marketing anyway?
Marketing, just getting people's attention to product, service, mission statement, whatever you really want them to interact with.
Okay, and is that really important for a business person?
Absolutely. If you're trying to provide somebody with a service or a product, or even and the election side, if you're trying to get votes, you definitely want to do the marketing side. You want your message to come across.
So now, do you have any direct contact or experience with elections?
Somewhat we do. We tend to stay away from that just because being in the marketing world, you want to be friends with everyone. You definitely don't want to be the media, be their friend one day, and then the next day you're reporting something negative about them. So we tend to stay away from the political elections as much as possible.
And what do you favor? What type of what's your main bread and butter?
Main bread and butter would be medium to large companies, but what we favor is really the small business. Being an entrepreneur, and this is literally the sixth business that we have started, we know how it is to go through the failing points and the pains and the aches and having a negative balance on your bank account. So those are the people that really captured our heart. And that's why we started Raise Newark, with the mission to help as many small businesses as possible, especially when you have these huge conglomerates coming into the neighborhood, shutting everything down.
Okay, so you're Raise Newark. That's your your banner, your forte.
Right.
You said you had 6 businesses. Tell us about that. How did that come about?
So as an entrepreneur, you get bored easily. You find solutions that other people don't find. So with that in mind, we had an accounting company. I have an accounting background. We had a construction company. We also had this nightclub promoting company, cleaning company. And before that, we had a sales consulting company. So we really found our niche was in the marketing aspect of things. And that's what we really created this one mission.
Well, that's amazing. You've done a lot of different things, and I guess when someone comes to you, they can know that you're talking from experience.
Oh, absolutely. I was blessed with being a very bored ADD type individual. So in my small work experience, I'm only 35 at the current moment. I actually have been working since I was 14, and I've been in 13 different industries.
Wow, that's quite a impressive statement. So,
well, yeah, some people would say that it's crazy that I have commitment issues, which that's not the fact. I just have boredom issues, and certain management types they like to secure their jobs, so they like to limit growth. Again, not a commitment issue. My wife and I, we've been together for 13 years. We just celebrated our 13-year anniversary last week.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's more of an experience thing for me. I have always loved to learn. So that's the number one driver for me.
So let me ask you, what is your company's why? What's your global vision?
Our global vision is to basically create small Raise Newarks across the nation, for the simple fact that there's many small businesses that they have that hunger. They want to help their community. Even a little bodega helps their community, and some people just don't see that. And it's really to allow these businesses not to just survive, but to thrive, to be able to combat these bigger corporations coming in, because it's the small businesses that are hiring the local individuals. Big corporations come into the neighborhood, and they do help to a certain aspect. But in another way, they really don't help for the simple fact they get tax discounts. They hire from outside the city, which it helps and it hurts at the same time.
Okay, so excuse me. So you're the small businessman's guy to go to, and how do you see small business working with big business in Newark in the next 5 or 10 years?
So I see a huge opportunity there for the simple fact that a great friend of mine, Karen, and a few members, they just released Shop Newark, which is a program that allows Newark residents to get a tax break or even a refund check after the third quarter for shopping in Newark in regards to how much money they spend and what businesses are participating. In the same retrospect, small businesses are actually able to use that same program with the big vendors in order to get discounts and then get a rebate check at the end of the year. Coinciding, I think it's a huge opportunity with the bigger businesses coming in, small restaurants and small little shops. They can actually thrive a little bit more due to the increase in traffic.
So what's the name of that program again? I never heard of it.
It's Shop Newark. There was actually a press release on the news this Monday. Ross Baraki was there. Aisha Glover from Newark CEDC. She was there. It was a really great press conference at the Gateway Center.
And how does one get involved in it? How does one take advantage of it?
So it's on shopnewark.com. There's a link that people can sign up into it, and that will allow them to put in their address, and if their preference would be to get a check at the end of the mail. If they own a property, they could get a tax rebate against that property. And it also works for people that work in the city, even the tourism, for the simple fact that this program does coincide in 20 different cities, if I'm not mistaken. So each city holds it individually, but anyone that's looking to get a break that they're always in Newark, they could actually sign up for something like this.
How did this come about? What group of people organized this or made it happen?
So it's a huge group of people. The one that's really bullhorning the whole entire factor is Forward Ever with Karen and her team. They're the ones that have teamed up with the City of Newark Prudential and also Newark Newark CEDC. And they're really making a huge effort for it. They've been working for 2 years on this one project. And hopefully with what we're able to do within the community, we're going to be joining that team very shortly.
So you're telling me that a business owner can get a tax credit or something for doing business in Newark? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as long as the businesses sign up for it. Let's say a small restaurant, they're part of that program, and they go ahead and they shop from a local supplier that's also in that program. They get anywhere to 10, 15, 20% discount back into their account within the third quarter. Many of these details are going to be explained more into the public as the program is rolling out, but the gist of it is, yes, after the third quarter, they could get a check back and really see some money out of this.
So it sounds like this is an incentive, a way to attract all types of businesses to the city of Newark.
Yeah, I would see it as a twofold. One is going to be to attract new business, and two is to create retention within current customers. To always have that customer come back to your business and not shop around as much as possible. It's really to allow people to be consistent in shopping within Newark and not shopping outside of Newark.
So you're saying because now the consumer gets how does the consumer, what's going to help, why is the consumer going to benefit from this? How does that work?
Well, the consumer will benefit from this for the simple fact that besides getting a check in the mail, they're going to be able to support their local business as much as possible. So things have changed dramatically. I remember when I was growing up, my parents, they would be able to purchase food for the whole week, do grocery shopping with $100. Now, with $100, I mean, you got groceries for one day for a family of four, give or take.
Yeah.
So with allowing like these small restaurants or even these small places that actually provide food on a budget per se, people could start saving a little bit more money and helping their community by allowing these businesses to stay there. So it just doesn't become this huge corporate mess.
Right. Well, we have a lot of building taking place in the city of Newark downtown, particularly. What do you think about that?
I'm a building junkie. I'm a forward ever junkie. I'm a progress junkie. So I really love it that Newark is on the map again for the great city that it is. Shaq just did his press release 2 days ago, or if I'm not mistaken, and he announced that he was going to do another project as well, another $150 million investment within the city of Newark,
Wow.
which it's really impressive. And for all local business owners and also property owners, this will allow them to start seeing some really good return on their investments.
So now Shaq is building his properties, and um, how does that impact the local worker? I mean, are local workers being employed in those sites, or is it union people from far away? What's going on with that?
So with what I know, Ras Barak, our mayor, he decided to really make it an initiative that it's an equal opportunity. So there are local businesses that are being hired, and there are also unions that are being hired for projects in that magnitude. From my construction industry experience, you would have to hire union workers for the rules and regulations to comply with state and federal laws. Um, I think it's a really great opportunity. Many of the local businesses don't really know that within the city of Newark, you can actually apply and show them that I'm a Newark business. These are my skills. These are my traits. This is what I really specialize in. And they could actually sign up into a list that whenever there's a huge project, they're able to get a bid.
Well, that's true. You can get a bid. The question is, can you swim with the sharks?
I completely get that. It's a two-hand scenario, right? I have had huge clients come to me, and unfortunately, I did not have the backing within my company to get the huge clients because you have to spread out huge sums of money before you get huge sums of money. So many of these businesses, sometimes it's not smart for the developer to use small businesses because it becomes a lot more costly not to deal with just a number of different businesses, but then your insurance rates and premiums will go up because now you got to parcel individual companies and it's a higher risk.
Right, right.
It's all about track record. Unfortunately, we all do start at a small stage. Many people, they want to jump the hurdle and start doing huge projects, but we have to understand that there's a progress with everything.
Absolutely. And I think it's if you're a small company like I am, I really don't see myself competing with the bigger guys because I don't have the muscle for that.
Absolutely. And many people don't understand that. I mean, I could go ahead and try to compete with VaynerMedia, but I might just get the little fish in the pond. There's no way I'm going to be able to get a whale for the simple fact that they have that financial backing. They have the team behind them. Last I checked, it was like 800 employees. There's no way that a little guy like me would compete. So I stay in my lane and I make my money the way I know how to make my money and provide my services. In the retrospect, small guy like me, I'm also needed for the local businesses that can't afford a VaynerMedia, that can't afford a NJ.com to do the marketing for them.
So let's talk about that. What is your, let's say I'm a painting contractor. How would you counsel me as far as marketing?
Well, first I would have to understand your business, right? What is the capacity of business that you can undertake? And that would really allow me to judge your marketing budget. If you're a painting contractor and you have 2 employees and you're only able to do 1,000 square feet a day or 2,000 square feet a day, then your marketing budget shouldn't be as extravagant as a restaurant because you just can't deal with that amount of client. Once we understand that budget, then we have to look into what are you missing, right? Do you have a website? Are you on social media? Once that is decided, then we clean everything up and we make sure that you're on every single map. We're actually one of the companies in Newark that we're licensed to input a business's information on 150 different directories and listings with one click of a button. And that allows us to not only put it on social media, but you could be on TomTom, navigation systems, Wazi, Apple Maps, Google Maps with one swift click.
Okay, so now I'm a local business person in Newark, and let's say the radius of my services would be maybe 10, 15 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, then why would I want to be on all those other platforms that go out to other many, many miles away.
It's for exposure and SEO, because you have all these other platforms that allow you to be seen. You at the end of the day have the choice: do I want to go out there and deal with this client or not deal with this client? For the simple fact that sometimes that extra 5 miles might render you double the income that you would expect within that 1, 5, 10, and 15-mile radius. So the way that we allocate the budget is we make sure that it's within 1 mile, 5 mile, 10 miles, 15 miles, and then 15 miles plus, to really allow certain exposures within the client and not to miss opportunities.
So Louis, before we go any further, how can someone get in contact with you?
To get in contact with me, it's very easy. My email is lg@raisenewark.com. Our telephone number is 973-420-8333. Or you could just find me on any social platform with the handle @MotivateMeLouis, LUIS.
Okay, so that means that all the people on, let's say, small business people in Newark, they can come to you. You can give them a plan how they can expand and live better in their businesses, right? Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's many people that they reach out to me on social media and they just ask for advice, and I'm more than happy to give them certain advice.
Well, what we're about here is we're trying to find a list of people who work together, a consortium of small business owners in the community. And I think you're a valuable asset to that because you can help everybody.
Absolutely, and we try to help as many people as possible. We're also directors in many organizations within Newark. I'm signing up to a few other nonprofits just to be able to consult them on certain directions to go. We've been very blessed to be doing really great within the city of Newark. We're actually in the progress of opening a second location in Florida to see if there's any way that we can find out what the different markets are all about, right? Really creating a shift of energy, because I know for a fact as a good traveler that once you come into Newark or even New York, you feel this tension, right? This huge pressure on you. And it's that hustle and bustle that people really have within them. But then when you travel to Florida or any tropical island, you're basically like on island time. Everybody's more calm, collective, and it may not sound like it, but they're actually a little more productive by doing less.
Could you expand on that concept, please?
It's crazy, right? You would think that if you're doing more, that you're being more productive. And I have even caught myself at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I call it dolphining, right? You're sleeping one eye open, still trying to do something. But a well-rested mind, it performs so much better than an exhausted mind. And unfortunately, we live in the tri-state that we're out always to make sure that we get that deal and really close it and make the customers happy and go beyond and really not look at what we need per se as individuals, as families. And that's one thing that I really love about the warmer climates, because it really teaches you to, hold on, slow down. Life is a series of few blinks, and you really have to analyze things and do what adds value. And that's what really has shifted our business into a better model of how can we help the community and how can we also be more profitable. And by narrowing that focus, we actually went from providing so many services down to just providing a handful of them to really be able to maximize and help as much as possible.
So you're saying that less is more? Absolutely.
And everybody says it, nobody believes it, but until you actually see it with your own two eyes, you're just like, it makes sense.
It would sound like to me that you're enjoying your marketing business more now because of that particular concept. Would that be true?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you're able to, when you're no longer thinking of money and you're actually just providing a really good service, money will come to you. That's people need to understand. Money is always going to come. Money is always going to go. Once you just focus on the mission, on what you're really delivering, then it allows you to be more of service, more of what you're really providing, more of your professionalism. just the other stuff is it's just a time waster, and people really focus on that, and it's not necessary. And I know it sounds very hypocritical, but I was there. I thought that money was everything. Okay, what is our monthly goal? What is this? What is the number of sales? But once you start providing real value, real consistent value, the money comes. It's always there, always there.
So now, how did you come to that conclusion?
Trial, error, and hitting my head on the wall a number of times. it's, all the greats say it, and none of the little guys believe it. I personally didn't believe it myself, and I was like, no, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Coming from a sales background, it's a numbers game. And it is, and it's not a numbers game. It's the right numbers game.
Right. It sounds like you're talking about an internal attitude, an internal credo.
Yeah.
It has to come from the inside out.
Absolutely. And that goes for every single business. If you're an event coordinator, you want the right people at your event. If you're a restaurant, you want the right people at your venue that like your food. If you're a marketing company, you want the right client. It coincides with everything that you want. Even a landscaper needs the right number. You want to have a bigger landscape in order for you to provide it. A friend of mine that I consult all the time, he owns a landscaping company, and he just opened up a cleaning company for his girlfriend. I said, buddy, you need to deal with the cul-de-sac effect. He was like, what's a cul-de-sac effect? You park your car in a cul-de-sac, you service one customer, you go next door and knock on the door, say, hey, I'm servicing the customer next door. I would like to service you. You could try me out at a discount, and you control that cul-de-sac. The less time that you're traveling looking for business and actually doing business, you become a lot more profitable.
Yes, that's right. Sun Tzu would say that's living off the land.
Absolutely.
So it's cheaper to keep your existing customers than go out looking for new ones, right?
It really depends. Sometimes you spend so much energy keeping a bad client that it's more profitable to let them go and look for a new, better, more qualified client. People need to understand that you don't have to do every little thing for money, but what you really need to do is find your perfect client.
How do you know you have a perfect client? What are the characteristics?
Well, first off, you need to find out what do you really specialize in, and does your client need it, right? And then after you figure that out, are you providing a really great service for your client? Are you going over and beyond for your client? And that will allow you to really be able to exceed their expectations. And then you start tracking the profitability within your client. If you're providing them a really great service, you're able to track their profitability, then you're going to have yourself the perfect client that you're going to be able to grow with.
So now, Louis, before we go any further, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite food, your favorite dish?
I'm a foodie. I'm a complete foodie. Before July of last year, I would eat just about anything because I just like to try new food. Recently, since July, I became a pescatarian. I created my own diet restrictions just because I really wasn't liking the awareness of what's happening to animal stocks and all the hormones and everything and all the junk that's being put into it. So when it comes to food, I'll try basically anything that's within my diet. There's no specifics. I mean, I like food.
Okay, great. But you don't like food that has pesticides and chemicals.
I think that nobody should like that stuff. Lately I've been doing a lot of deep growing, a lot of spiritual growing, small amounts of meditation, and I've been a Netflix junkie, sort of say, for the health benefits. Like what's up with food, what's up with wheat, and all these other aspects. And it's kind of incredible once you start doing some research and we really understand what we've been putting into our body, and then we really analyze what's around us. Why are people getting sick? Why are people not as healthy as they should be? Why is America the #1 for obesity problems and suicides and everything like that? And it sheds a light. The food industry, they're doing something that in a way it's helping and hurting. They found ways that they could produce food in order to maintain everyone nourished in the States. But at the same time, this rapid growth within food is um, hurting the public as well. And the public needs to become a little more educated on what they're putting into their body.
So you mentioned meditation. What is that, and how does that benefit you?
I have different types of meditation. Rapid breathing when I feel stressed out, and I also have just a nice and quiet meditation of when you just need to sit down. I throw on my Bose so I don't have any sound and just really do deep searching. What is my next step of growth? Where do I want to see myself? Who can I help? Just being calm and collective with me, and letting my thoughts speak directly to me without it being interfered by any surround sounds.
Sounds pretty deep there.
It's pretty deep, and actually, I didn't really understand what meditation was before. I thought it was just all right, it's something that people do. But once I started doing it, it really allowed me to become more calm, more collective, and being able to be a lot more patient. And that the patience just goes such. I mean, it creates such benefits when someone just reacts. You're really not hearing to all the opportunities, but when you're just patient, you're able to see everything around you and process the information differently. You'd just be amazed. I mean, if 50% of the world would meditate, we would be in such better state.
Yeah, we probably would be.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what is your concept of marketing, your ideal concept? How should it work out?
I mean, many people say there's certain statistics or ideal aspects of marketing. But with me, it really depends on the client itself. Or what does the client truly need? What is the client's budget? Well, how can we help this client grow? Is it a service? Is it a product? It really, when it comes to different industries, the game completely changes. It completely changes. So some people might just want to do localized marketing because they have a local business. They have a storefront. Some businesses are all digital. They have a Shopify account. Maybe they create the product, or maybe they're ordering it from Wazir, or they're ordering it from Wish, or they're ordering it from Alibaba, and they're doing a markup on it. It has to be very creative. And that's when these big businesses come and say, oh, well, we're going to be able to do your marketing and we're going to do it this way. I mean, it's a huge cookie cutter approach, and it really doesn't work for business anymore.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, the cookie cutter approach. Why is that so, I guess, popular?
Well, unfortunately, many people aren't as creative as they used to be. They're going to follow something that they believe that works, and then they're going to look at the analytics. Is this really going to work? And the cookie cutter approach, it's like it's a cut and paste. There's no creativity behind it. It's just it just really dies out, and some brands lose that approach. They really lose that connectability with their consumer because they're just like everybody else.
Right, and that's that's what I find somewhat interesting, because if I'm delivering a personal service to you, then I have to be personal with you. I can't be cookie cutter. I can't be robotic with you, right?
100%. I mean, if you're having a person-to-person business and you're not personable, you're not relatable, then you're in the wrong business. I mean, just close the door, pull out the notebook, and go straight to the drawing board, because you have to be personable. And many of these businesses, they become so digital that we have robots on text message, robots on email.
Yes. Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like,
we're the humans, right?
I mean, like you get an email, right? Oh, hi, Lewis. This guy don't know. He doesn't know your name. He doesn't know you. He knows your name, but doesn't know you personally,
Yeah,
right?
he knows my name because I filled out a form, or they bought a list of names, and now they use a dollar sign bracket, my name, dollar sign, and that's how the names get auto-populated into these emails. It's not catered to anymore. I mean, and unfortunately, we're going into this complete shift of industry. I mean, there's only a handful of businesses that you could actually call up and get decent customer service.
Let's speak about that because I think that isn't that sort of like the guerrilla approach?
Uh, I mean, any business should have good customer service. Any business. I mean, consumers are going to have a problem, and obviously, you should track and see which ones are the consumers that are really problematic. I mean, Amazon, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people that are ordering products and they look at it, don't like it, send it back, and this is their routine. But for small businesses, they need to really find out, what do their customers like? Why are their customers coming to them? Why are their customers not coming to them anymore? And have that person-to-person effect. So then, one, they could grow. Two, they could shift. And three, they could just keep on doing exactly what they've been doing that's been working.
Right, right. I think you know tradespeople are like personal. It has to be a personal experience. And that's what people relate to. Not only providing a solution to their problem, but it has to be an enjoyable solution.
Absolutely, absolutely. Restaurants. I remember when we would go out to a restaurant, and the manager would come up and say, "Hey, how's everything? I'm the manager. How do you like it? How don't you like it?" And now you don't see that anymore. Unless you're known, you don't see that anymore. It's like Applebee's used to be the number one place that you could go to that would do that, and now it's just not there. It's like, all right, they're going to come to us regardless. They're going to eat. They're going to leave. How we're going to bring them in? Oh, $1 margaritas. Go get them in the door. And people are being duped. People are being completely duped, and they're going to these places, and they're not being provided a service anymore. I mean, I think that businesses are at fault, but so is the consumer for even putting up with that crap.
Well, yes, I agree. We do tolerate less than desirable service. But on
Yeah.
the positive note, I had the pleasure of having dinner at a place in Little Italy
Hmm.
during the Christmas time
Okay.
at a place called Angelo's.
Okay.
Angelo's, I mean, and it's a hole in the wall basically, but like it's a family.
Mhm. Those are the best plays. Those are the best. Little holes in the wall. I love those. I
so,
do.
so where's a little hole in the wall, a wall in Newark?
Well, luckily for me, our office is located right above Sagres. So whenever I need to get a quick bite to eat or something delicious or a drink or something, I go right downstairs. And that's right on Prospect and Ferry. I love to go to Mampu. I love to go to Portugalia. I love to go to even on Halsey Street. I'm a Halsey Street junkie.
Oh, have you been to that new restaurant on Halsey Street?
The Samuel place, yeah, I definitely went there. It's good. It has a nice little jazz vibe to it. It's tranquil. You got every single culture in there. I love that place. And right across from there is Green Chickpea. They're
Yeah,
all
right,
place.
right.
And Black Swan right down the street. Oh man, their coffee is beyond.
I mean, like we should have a Mardi Gras on Halsey Street, right?
Absolutely. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was looking at the way the buildings are structured, and I'm like, wow, this is like a little taste of Louisiana. We need to have some beads over here, some more jumbo jambalaya. Like
Yeah, right.
we don't have anything like that in Newark at all.
You could have like they have those vendor trucks, you know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That'll be huge. That'll
You know,
be huge.
you could have like in the summertime, you could have the vendor trucks all up and down halls. You have something in the park, Lincoln Park.
Hmm.
It could be. I'm throwing that out to you because you're the marketing king. You know, you can make it happen.
I would definitely do a food truck festival. I'm the type of person that I believe that the small businesses on Halsey Street, that they actually have a Halsey Street festival, by the way, that they need to be able to have their own customers to survive. There's many great food places along that strip, and by bringing in food trucks, you're actually going to deter away from people trying that food. A good friend of mine, Emily Mans, she actually does. Have you visited Newark? I think that's the name. And she actually does food tours and bar crawls within the city of Newark and shows people the local history, Lincoln Park, Washington Park, and stuff like that. And I think we need more of that. Newark Happening, the Visitors Bureau, they're doing really great as well with bringing in people that are in the hotels and bringing them out into the community. So is the IBIT in downtown district. And Raise Newark is going to start playing a bigger part in that. Hopefully with the right amount of funding, we're going to be able to release our application, which will allow people to really find out what are the jobs in Newark, what are the deals, what apartments are available, and it'll have like a communications so then people can really connect based on interest. So then you know who your neighbor is, you know who the person down the street is, because we have 300,000 people. We're $11 billion buying power yearly. And
Wow.
and people really don't understand that. And we have so much talent with our city, like so much. And you only hear about it when they leave and come back.
Yes, yes, right.
Like how many Shacks are in Newark, right? How many Queen Latifahs are in Newark? There's so much talent that it's crazy. It's completely crazy that Newark is only getting that growth spur in the last few years. We should have been way better than New York, for the simple fact that it's
Well,
Newark.
how do you, or two questions. First question is, what do you think about the Hanging Gardens of Prudential?
I like it. I like it. It's a green piece. We should see more of that throughout the city. We should see more green rooftops throughout the city. Portugal, Lisbon actually has many of those vertical gardens, and just to get that extra aspect of greenery around, so we don't have just the brick and glass. I think it's a really good break from the eye.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd like to see a lot of that.
Absolutely.
So now do you work with companies like Prudential in terms of like, not, I know not directly, but you come in their circles?
I come into the circles. I don't work directly with them. I do help businesses that either get grant money from them or actually get marketing dollars. So we do help the third party aspect of that.
Now, you mentioned about New York City and Newark's growth. What do you think about the opening of the dredging of the harbor, the port, to accommodate these super vessels?
I mean, Newark has an airport. We have a port. We have train stations. We are an import-export city. Unfortunately, the demand has created for the dredging, and it must be done. It's a love and hate at the same time, but in order to keep Newark as profitable as possible and as a powerhouse, I mean, these are the things that we must do in order to stay with the times. If we won't do it, the port down the country will do it. Either Florida will do it, or some side of Elizabeth will do it, or if we don't take the opportunity, then eventually we're going to lose all on that traffic. And import is a huge aspect of Newark income, for the simple fact that once the port disappears, that means warehousing disappear, that means that trucking fleets disappear. So by taking those billions and billion dollars away, it will really dismantle not just Newark, but a huge portion of Jersey.
Now, I thought that it was in process already. I thought the harbor was being expanded.
It has, and the Bayonne Bridge has been raised as well to accommodate for these things. And it's important that we must go forward. I mean, again, we're a city. We need to go vertical. If we don't go vertical, everybody else around us is going to go vertical, and then we're
Yeah. Well, let's look at Harrison. Harrison's doing they have a lot of vertical activity over there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They just got approved for a 18-story tower right next to the Path Station. I mean, they're doing great. My concerns with Harrison is that their infrastructure is not ready. previous to this construction. They had about a population of 18, 19,000 people. With these units coming in now, they're going to grow an additional 22 to 25,000 people. Their school infrastructure is definitely not ready for it. I don't know if their sewer system is ready for it. However, it's really great to see because Harrison planned, but didn't plan very well. And this is where Newark is going to have the gist of this opportunity. Harrison has nothing. Like you might have a few little shops underneath, a few little tiny restaurants, but it is a freaking ghost town. I don't care if you have a stadium there. I mean, stuff like that doesn't work. Like you come to the Ironbound, you come to Halsey Street, you go to downtown district, and you have restaurants, you have people on the streets, you have choices. So because they didn't build that infrastructure first, I think that by us starting late, we're actually going to reap the benefit.
Well, let's talk about that because from my experience, after 6 o'clock, there's nothing in Newark, really. It's like, it's quiet. You have a lot of neon lights, but it's not like, I just don't feel like there's a place to go. And like, what was it, the 2014 Super Bowl, I think we had at the Giant Stadium.
Yep, I was part of the committee.
Newark didn't get too much action on that. I think we need to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, with part of my previous experience, I was actually the executive director for the Newark Bears.
Okay.
I was brought in for the last 2 years, part of the closeout phase. And again, like when it comes to the downtown district, we really don't have enough. And when a business tries to come out, they're really not supported by the public as much as they should be, or local businesses. So when the Super Bowl was around, everybody got together, and unfortunately, I don't think there was enough marketing dollars for individual businesses and for these big programs to happen in order to really reap the benefits of the Super Bowl itself. And also in retrospect, it's wintertime. Nobody wants to be on the street. If you're going to have a bar, if you're going to have a lounge, then yes, you're going to make money during the Super Bowl. But if you don't have any of those things, I mean, you're really not going to do it. I have been speaking with many local council members and requesting that they go to the state and they request a beer and wine license. We're already maxed out at the liquor licenses that we have in Newark. Unless you build a hotel that has more than 100 rooms, then you automatically get one. But we need more restaurants. We need more places to go. And once we do that with a very simple beer and wine license, then you're going to be able to see more people come in. As long as we have more people on the street, Newark will be more respected. People will think and understand that it's more safe. And until we have that, we're always going to have that issue of not enough. But on a different note, we've been increasing our festivals. There's so many festivals that are opening up, so people are really starting to trust Newark. I think that with the Mulberry Commons project that's going to happen right by the Prudential Center, that open park, there's going to be live music there on weekends. NJ Pack does live music in the summertime. Mm-hmm. These are the things that people really want. They want that outside living. But I mean, even New York itself, if you weren't a venue, a true venue that was televising Super Bowl, I mean, you weren't making that much money. I mean, everybody tries to maximize on the Super Bowl.
So now let's talk about these outdoor music activities. What about a Newark Blues Festival?
Oh, I would love that. I would love that. I mean, I would really love that. Blues festival, jazz festival. I mean, anything that could bring back the good oldies, it would be phenomenal. Like we're really losing track of that.
I mean, you got Wayne Shorters from the city of Newark. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of people. Now, you mentioned Harrison. Now, Harrison's going to be getting this influx of people. Mm-hmm. Now, do you see that influx coming over into Newark?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now that we're creating market rate units, people are going to be able to say, okay, do I want to live in Harrison or do I want to live in Newark? The one thing that Newark has that Harrison will never have is that the path starts in Newark.
Yes.
By the time you jump in the Newark path and you get to Harrison, you don't have a seat.
No,
So
no, you don't.
people are really going to think about this. If you could pay the same amount of money for rent and you still have that gym, you still have that the pool, you still have that terrace, but you also have the restaurants, you also have that proximity to everything else, people will make the Newark decision versus Harrison.
Well, you got it's the Broad Street, Halsey Street connection, right?
Absolutely. You have the light rail, you have Broad Street
Right.
station, Penn Station, the path. I mean, it's all there. I mean, we literally have everything that we possibly need in order to be extremely, extremely successful.
So why is it that Harrison is getting all this attention at the moment?
Um, that's going to get a little tough on my side, but I think Harrison is getting it for the simple fact that they were the first ones to launch it. I mean, Newark could have been the first one, right? Unfortunately, many people don't see as if building is important in Newark. They want to keep paying their same rent. They don't want their rents to climb. They don't want their neighborhoods to change. They don't want their landscapes to change. Harrison was smart enough to have all that land that really didn't affect many residents in order to develop. Fortunately, Newark, the majority of the land that we do have is going to affect all the residents some way, somehow. And I believe that many of their arguments are just arguments, right? We live in a world that people are saying, well, these big buildings are being constructed and there's not going to be enough parking. I mean, when have you seen a New Yorker own a car? But then I walk down the street and I know 2 family homes that within that one house, there's 10 cars.
Yes.
So where's the problem really coming from? Is it from the skyscrapers, the MX3 buildings, or is it from the current culture? And now they're saying, hey, let's build a huge parking deck. I mean, why are we going to spend the money on a parking deck that within 5 to 10 years, you're going to have flying drones? I mean, Uber just just announced it in Lisbon at the Web Summit that by 2020, they want to have Uber drones. I mean, we're going vertical again with vehicles and transportation. So why are we going to build parking lots? It makes no sense.
Well, I think that goes into that's a marketing issue, right?
I mean, I think it's a marketing issue and also an education issue. I mean, people nowadays, they have become so lazy that in order to go several blocks down the street, they get in their car. And then they complain that they can't find parking. Then they complain because they were just gone into the store for 5 minutes and they got a parking ticket. It's called responsibility, right? You need to be responsible for your actions. You should be able to, be an adult about it and say, all right, this is only 5 blocks away. Let me walk or let me ride a bike. Like people, it's incredible that people have so much time on their hands that they make excuses versus making progress.
So now we have a lot of conglomerate companies in the city of Newark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious. I mean, and at the 5, 6 o'clock, all those guys are gone. They go back to where they came from, outside the city,
Mm-hmm.
and the city just becomes like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of way that with this new building that you foresee that changing in terms of employment and people working and living in the city?
Absolutely, and I see that happening in downtown district. You have the Haynes Project. Haynes Project is bringing residents into the downtown district. Before, the only place that was really nice to live in would be the 1180 building. But now you actually have more residents coming in. And the residents are the ones that are actually going to walk the streets at night. If you only have these huge towers that employ people, of course they're going to skip town right afterwards. They want to go home to their families. It's not, you can't expect someone that's been in the city from 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock to stay after 5, 6, 7 o'clock and have dinner every single night. You just really can't expect that. These are people that they go home to their families, just like any citizen does. I mean, even if you live in Newark or work out of Newark or wherever the case may be, once you're done with work, you just want to get in your car or get in the train and go home.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now, with the influx now with these new buildings, like you have the Shack building, Shack One,
Mhm.
possibly Shack Two, and the other building that they're almost finished with the other side of Lincoln Park.
Mhm.
Do you see those as like places for people to live in and work in New York, or live in and work in New Jersey? What's your vision on that?
I want both. I really want both. I mean, I see huge opportunity with these market rate towers, because if somebody could afford $2,000, $2,500, that means they have a really good salary. So the medium house income within Newark is going to rise. And these are the people that actually could support and will support small businesses. They're the ones that will have the spending cash in order to make it happen.
So now here's an interesting question. How is this going to impact? A lot of people make a decision to buy or live in a space based upon the school quality.
Hmm.
Now, with these market rate value living spaces,
Hmm.
is that going to, how is that going to impact the schools in Newark, you think?
It, in my opinion, it's going to be a good thing. So you're going to have a majority of people that they will have their kids in the current school system, and you are going to have several people that are going to have their kids in charter schools and several people that are going to have their kids in private school. The real question is, how will the city be able to monetize this new tax revenue in order to improve the current school systems? I think that that's the real question here. Me, I'll be very candid with you. I'm against what schools stand for, because what kids are learning now is the same stuff I learned 15, 16 years ago. And it's unfair, it's unjust, and I think that the school system itself needs to be a little more caterable to, for the simple fact that we have to look at the youth as individuals, not as a copy and paste format like we've been doing all along. If history serves me correct, I mean, schools were created by the Dutch colonists many, many years ago because they needed people to work in factories, and they needed that do repeat format. And we're in a completely different ballgame now, a completely different ballgame. And we really need to start catering to the youth and finding out where are their strengths, where are their weaknesses, and not treat a class of 30 as a class of one.
Right. So in other words, you want to identify the students' gifts and talents.
Absolutely. I mean, I probably would have been more gifted growing up instead of getting into trouble. I would get so bored in class, and the teacher thought I wasn't paying attention. Meanwhile, I was ahead. I was way ahead. And I think that certain kids, they're very similar to me. You capture data very quickly. You're a visual learner. You're a hands-on learner. I mean, there's these things that are really not catered to, in my opinion. I know there's many great teachers out there. Like, I mean, really many great teachers out there that go beyond what they should do. I know teachers that pull money out of their own pockets in order to buy school supplies for their classes. And I think that, one, it's wrong that they have to do that. And two, we really need to start looking at this educational system and finding new programs for these kids, like after school programs that cater to their interests, because creativity is what creates evolution.
Yes, yes. And that I don't want the educational concept is a deep rabbit hole. I won't pursue that any further because
I appreciate that.
it can go on forever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'll
Yeah.
probably get a few text messages after this video airs. I'm about like, Lewis, come on.
So once again, Louis, how can people get in contact with you?
You can find me on social media. The handle is Motivate Me Lewis, Lewis Luis. My company in Jersey is Raise Newark. Telephone number 973-420-8333. My personal email is lg@raisenewark.com.
Is there any upcoming events you want people to know about?
Oh man, there's so many events coming up. I mean,
Well, I mean, ones that you're involved in, the ones you think that people should know about.
let's just say I'm going to be posting them on our Facebook page, on the Raise Newark Facebook page. Just track that. There's so many great things happening within Newark that I just can't mention one or two, because there's dozens of events that people should definitely go out and support.
All right, well, that's great. Anything else you want to talk about before we say goodbye?
Um, I just want people to look at a problem as an opportunity.
Okay.
Every single problem is an opportunity. You just need to look at it from different eyes, from a different perspective. And once you see the opportunity, I mean, sky's the limit.
Well, okay, Louis, we want to thank you very much for coming on Keeping America Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Bill. I greatly appreciate it.
We believe that keeping America beautiful is an important thing to do, along with raising Newark.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need to raise every single one of our cities and towns.
Yes, 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 yes. And so it's Friday, and what are you doing for the weekend?
I'm getting some work done. My wife and I, we just got back from our anniversary trip in Turks. Got to get some work done. Maybe we fly out to Florida again for some land that we spotted out. So we're busy.
Okay, well, that's sound like you're a busy man, but again, thank you for coming on, and we'll stay in touch and talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. I'll get this over to you ASAP, all right?
Perfect. Thank you, Bill. Greatly.